And the shortages continue despite the aid that is flowing in from all over the world. For 2 weeks now, countries across the globe have been delivering assistance to India. Oxygen concentrators, medicines, testing kits, masks, ventilators, you name it, and India has been getting it. But patients are still dying in hospitals because of oxygen shortage. Social media is still flooded with SOS calls. People looking for medicines and beds. Indian courts are coming down heavily on the political leadership. Here's a report.
India's second wave is relentless. As the steep graph moves up, the shortages cut deeper. Hospitals and doctors are stretched beyond limits. A doctor in Delhi compared this situation to an earthquake. He said governments need to go beyond just supplying oxygen.
Oxygen is only one thing. What we need is surge capacity building. And one is surge capacity building in terms of new hospitals, quickly built up prefabricated hospitals with beds, ventilators, ICUs, staffing, which people have to be moved like in a disaster management situation. We have to look at it, imagine it like an earthquake almost.
The sudden onslaught of cases left Indian hospitals gasping for breath. Soon, help started pouring in. Dozens of countries pledged assistance to India. Military planes filled with ventilators, oxygen supplies and antiviral drugs were rushed to New Delhi. But are these life-saving consignments reaching those who need them? Governments are fighting for supplies in courts. Judges are pulling up leaders. On Tuesday, the Delhi High Court asked the central government why it shouldn't be sued for contempt. This was over the supply of oxygen. The court said, while we are going on with the hearing, there are several hospitals and nursing homes saying they are not getting oxygen. Where do you think all of that oxygen is going if it's sufficient? Are you living in ivory towers? On Wednesday, the matter reached India's Supreme Court. The top court stayed the contempt order of the Delhi High Court. It asked the central government to present a plan to ensure Delhi gets its share of oxygen. The court's observations were sharp. Between the center and state putting officers in jail or hauling them up for contempt, the people of Delhi won't get oxygen. Similar hearings took place at the Allahabad High Court. The court took up the matter suo motu after the death of patients in Lucknow and Meerut due to the lack of oxygen. The judges said those responsible for supplying oxygen to hospitals are committing a criminal act, and this amounts to genocide. Questions are being raised outside India too. Last week, the US State Department was asked if it was tracking the aid it had sent to India. A reporter said there should be accountability for the US taxpayers' money. Washington replied it was doing its best to make sure India's needs are taken care of in this crisis. Some answers came from the government of India this week. It says a cell within the health ministry is responsible for coordinating the receipt and allocation of relief material. By now, nearly 4 million donated items across 24 categories have been sent to 38 healthcare facilities across India. But it's not enough. India is adding more than 300,000 cases every day. It needs more supplies and fast. Experts both in India and abroad are making dire projections. A team at the Indian Institute of Science says India could see more than 400,000 deaths by June if cases continue to rise at the same pace. Experts at the University of Washington predicted even worse. Their model forecasts more than 1 million deaths by July if the present surge is not crushed. Bureau Report, World is One.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.